Okay, so there is a phenomenon about attitudes. You may have heard this phrase before called cognitive dissonance, or if not, it's a good one to know. So, cognitive dissonance is this uncomfortable feeling, this state, when your behaviors, your actions don't actually match your attitudes or the things that you think or feel. We don't like feeling uncomfortable. We don't like being inconsistent in our actions and our attitudes. So it's a powerful tool to actually change what your attitude is. To give you some examples of what I mean, the first is unfortunately things like Black Lives Matter. And again, it's sad that this is an outdated example, even though I just made this in like July. So this is a cartoon, and this is depicting Colin Kaepernick, who is a football player that was kneeling down to protest racial injustice and was subsequently criticized pretty heavily and allegedly blackballed from the NFL. Now, this man is Roger Goodell, who is the commissioner of the NFL, and he claimed to support BLM after the George Floyd incident, after all the protests and the scrutiny came down after the mistreatment of George Floyd. So this is an example of cognitive dissonance because his attitude or his stance was that Black Lives Matter in order to kind of fit in and be socially, with the group at the time of BLM. However, his actions didn't reflect that. His actions were to blackball Colin Kaepernick and, to criticize this action. Maybe a lighter example, dieting is a huge thing. So is it bad that my new clean eating lifestyle started with a cheat day? So that idea that you want to change to a quote healthier lifestyle, but then immediately not follow it. And then lastly, similarly is kind of vegetarianism, veganism. It's that idea of like, I love animals. I'm super into, all creatures, but then deciding that I'm okay to eat some and not the other. And this is an example of how companies will use cognitive dissonance to change our attitudes through advertising things. Okay, we want to present ourselves as holding consistent beliefs, right? We don't want to present ourselves as having cognitive dissonance or being contradictory in the ways that we behave and act. So, for instance, if someone claims to be super into fitness and works out at the gym, but then they eat terribly, then their attitude that, being fit is good and desirable isn't really consistently affecting their behavior if they're eating differently than that attitude. Or conversely, we may hold the belief that people who work out at the gym are healthy, that they might also, eat healthy too. But now we're presented with someone who isn't eating healthy. And so because we strive for cognitive consistency, we need to change our own attitude or belief to make those things reconcilable. So maybe we have to adjust and say, okay, well, not everyone who goes to the gym eats healthy. Okay. So it goes both ways. Going back to our mask example again, let's say you meet someone who promotes healthy living. They're all into exercising, eating healthy, washing their hands, getting regular doctor's checkups, that kind of thing. But then you see them not wearing a mask. This appears on the surface to be inconsistent or otherwise showing cognitive dissonance with their otherwise actions and behaviors and attitudes. So something needs to change. Maybe they don't actually care about healthy living, or at least of anyone other than themselves. So maybe you have to adjust how you view them. Maybe you need to adjust yourself. Maybe they know all about health, and maybe they know something about masks that you don't. Maybe they've found some research somewhere that masks aren't healthy. So you need to change your attitude about it. Or maybe they do care about healthy living, but as we've talked about in other examples, maybe they just left their mask at home or accidentally took it off for a second or that type of thing. So your judgment about them needs to change. So We typically try to adjust anytime things are inconsistent because we like consistency. So again, to differentiate these because they're pretty similar again, cognitive uh, consistency is this like general phenomenon. It's a general preference, whereas cognitive dissonance is a particular state and feeling caused by behaving in a way that is cognitively inconsistent. So phenomenon versus the actual kind of feeling.